Yo, what's good? Peace and blessings, and welcome to episode 7 of Live with LOAHMMI. Yes, you are tuned in live, and you are listening to the hostess with the mostest, your girl LOAHMMI. And of course, I want to thank y'all for taking a minute and taking the time to join me on this beautiful Monday afternoon. I'm posted up in the crib, and I had a couple things that I wanted to talk to y'all about. What's going on with the super full moon that we just had? And not only that, we got the Mercury Retrograde coming up right now. So I know a lot of people are really trying to figure out what's going on with the cosmos and how we can take the energy out there using our planets and use them to manifest the things in our life that we want. All right? It is August the 31st, the last day of the month, and you are tuned in to Live with LOAHMMI. So let's go ahead and get this show popping.
Live with LOAHMMI. Yo, it's time to get live with LOAHMMI. Yo, it's time to get live with LOAHMMI. Yo, it's time to get, all things spiritual, metaphysical, knowledge is critical. I'm out here on this journey for the truth, and I'ma bring it to you. We'll come together even though we're individuals. Yo, it's time to get live with LOAHMMI. Yo, get live with LOAHMMI.
Yo, peace and blessings, and welcome to episode 7 of Live with LOAHMMI. You are tuned in. Thank you for taking your afternoon, your evening, to sit back and chill with your girl LOAHMMI, and let's build, let's talk. I got a couple things that I want to talk to y'all about, and actually I wanted to talk about some of this stuff when it was actually going on, like the full moon we just had. I really wanted to get a show out, but it just wasn't working for me. That night was very, very interesting. I was up all night. My daughter wasn't feeling the best, so on a night when I would normally have my crystals out and be doing a lot of rituals and doing some candle work, I was really just sitting up being a mom and being a nurturer. So that was totally different for me this full moon, because honestly, every full moon, I got something going on. I got something, in my head that I want to either do, whether it be some candle stuff or just putting some intentions out there in the universe. So I know a lot of people are always like, why, what is it about the full moon? I see you say happy full moon. Some people really hate the full moon, especially people that work in the hospitals, in the medical field, because people really bug out and they trip. And a lot of crazy shit happens during the full moon because we are being pulled by that energy, that lunar energy, that lunatic energy. That's what makes people act a damn fool, because they're being pulled by the energy from the moon. So we just had a full moon this past Saturday on the 29th. It was a super full moon, which basically meant that the moon was closer to the earth than it normally is. So if you didn't know that, that's why they call it a super full moon. And overall, the full moon is just the height of the moon cycle. It's basically when the light of the sun completely fills the moon, and it starts a new 2-week period that's called the waning phase. So from the time until the moon is full up into the next new moon actually is a great time to try to release things and remove things. And then once you enter that new moon phase up until the time where the moon is full, that's called the waxing phase. And that's a great time for you to create more energy and bring in and draw in more energy for you. And this past full moon was in Pisces, and I'm gonna tell y'all something. For me, that was really, really deep, and it was dope because my moon sign is in Pisces. And not only is my moon sign your moon represents your feminine energy, your maternal energy, where you get all of that stuff from. And for me, when I did my natal chart and found out that my moon was in Pisces, it was like, wow. Because my mother is a Pisces. And hold on, let me make sure my volume, because I can get really loud, and I've noticed like a couple of my past shows has been really loud, so I want to make sure I try to keep my volume together, whatever. But overall, this past moon was in Pisces. This super full moon was in Pisces, and for me, that was really, really essential. Like, it really meant a lot because, like I said, my mother is a Pisces and my moon is in Pisces in my natal chart. I encourage everybody to go on to cafeastrology.com and get a free natal chart reading. It lets you know where the planets are on the day that you were born. Get a natal chart so you can know, what's your ruling planet and where everything is in your chart. If you're listening to this show, then you should know that this show is about metaphysics, spirituality, astrology, alchemy, all of those different occult studies and all kinds of, I ain't even been able to tap in on the conspiracy stuff because it's been a lot of stuff going on in our world and in our society that I could easily talk about on this show, but I just choose not to give it no more energy because the media's already out there dealing with that kind of crazy shit. So anyhow, I wanted to get on here and do a show basically on a full moon because people are always like, why is the full moon so special? Because the full moon is basically when the moon is at the height of its power. And if you're a person like me that deals with alchemy, and I feel like I'm connected to everything on this planet, all of the planets, they all affect me. And, it's definitely a powerful time. It's a time where you should tap in and use the energy from that moon cycle and create whatever it is that you want in your life. So if you're a person out here that's looking for a job and you're trying to bring in some money, different things, you want to start from the time where the moon is new up until the full moon. You want to start doing those rituals and those candle spells or anything that's going to bring something to you. You want to start drawing in. You want to draw in all the way up until the full moon. And once the moon is full, it's the height of the power, and it's a great time for you to put any type of ritual into work. You're just going to emphasize it to the 10th degree. And then from the time where the moon is full until the next phase, that's where where the moon is waning. From the time where the moon is full, and every day after that, the moon is waning, and that's a time to release and let go. So we are in a situation right now since we just had this full moon on the 29th of August, where, I really, like I said, normally I have a lot of stuff going on. I like to set out my crystals. It's a great time to do cleansing work. Anything that you do is going to be amplified. So I just wanted to come on and give y'all some of the things that I do on my full moon. Like I told y'all, this is the show where you are talking to somebody that's a student. You're not talking to somebody that's like, oh, I am the master of this. You're not going to get that here. Right here, we dealing with the basics. You know what I'm saying? We dealing with the 101. This is where I'm at. So on the full moon, I always like to set out my crystals and clean them. I like to clean them by the light of the moon. I know the moon normally hits my bedroom window between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. So I always sit out all my crystals. I sit out my tarot cards. I sit out all of that stuff so it can be amplified by the energy of the moon. I won't even go into the story, but I told a story on one of my other episodes. I think I did it since I've been on Spreaker. But anyhow, the moon literally has been a big part of my life. Like I would get really sick around the full moon, or it would be around the new moon. And at the time I was so young, I didn't really know that what was going on. It wasn't really until the 3rd month that I noticed, like every time I got sick, it was a full moon, and my cycle lines up with the moon. So once you start dealing with that energy, you really get to understand the power of the moon. I just want to encourage everybody to go out there and do their own personal research, because I can't sit here in a 30-minute show and give you all the information on the moon. But if you're curious and you even took a minute to click on this episode, then go out and do the research, because once you start tapping into the energy of the full moon, you can use that to enhance your life and enhance your spell work and enhance your rituals, whatever it is that you want to do. So like I said, I like to set my crystals out on a full moon. I like to get them under the moonlight and have them cleansed. Some people like to take their crystals out and put them into the dirt. Some people just put them in water. However you want to do it. Like I said, anything you do during this full moon time will definitely be amplified. We just went through this full moon with Pisces, which is a water sign, and it's associated with your imagination, dreams, the subconscious, spirituality. So you want to definitely, hopefully you took the time with this Pisces super full moon and was able to tap into that. And if you didn't, take a minute and think back, what were your dreams within the past couple of days? What type of, if you were sitting there daydreaming, what kind of ideas and thoughts came into your mind? You want to definitely, when you deal with the full moon or any type of moon cycle, you want to see what it's in, because the moon cycles coincide with the zodiac signs. So it could be like it was a full moon in Pisces. It could be a new moon in Gemini. Like, you need to start getting out here and doing the research and understanding. That's why, like I said, it's very important for you to get a natal chart done so you can see where these planets are and how they are in your birth chart, so you can understand how they affect your life, and you're not just being thrown every which way, like, like I'm bugging out, I got an attitude. Well, maybe it's a full moon in your sign, or maybe, you just need to get some knowledge and information on how these planets work, because if you honestly believe that your body is the earth and a representation of the earth, then you're going to want to learn how to deal with the planets and the things that are surrounding the earth accordingly. That would only make sense, so like I said, during the full moon, I always like to light me some candles. I like to do different kinds of rituals, whether I'm just going to write down my goals, write down the things that I want to create for my life. I will sit and meditate. You can draw, you can do a cleansing bath. You can, like I said, clean your crystals, or you can even draw down the moon. One thing that I really, really found that was beneficial to me, because I'm very simple. Like I told y'all, I'm at the point in my spiritual path where I'm doing a lot of basic, simple things. I'm not so much dealing with this deity and this ritual. I focus on honoring my ancestors, and I focus on my intention. What is it that I want to create more of in my life? What is it that I want to bring in? What is it that I want to remove? And I focus on those things. So up until the full moon, you want to try, like I said, try to draw in positivity, draw in new money, draw in new creative ideas. And from the time where that moon is full, like we just dealt with this full moon on Saturday. So from Saturday on until now is a great time to try to release. Not only try, just do it. Release, let things go. Let things, make space for new things into your life. If there's some issues or people or jobs or, whatever problems in your life that you want to try, or I'm going to quit saying try, that you want to let go of, this is the time to do it. So you want to be aware of the full moon and how it works and how it coincides in your life. I always recommend that people get a Llewellyn almanac. I get one every year. It's a book, and it shows you where the planet. It has a lot of great information in it, but it also shows you where the planets are every day. And you can prepare for that full moon. So you can take 2 days and be like, yo, the full moon's coming up, so I'm going to make sure I get X, Y, and Z in order so I can draw in this. And then from the full moon on out, I can release all negativity. I can release that job that I don't want. I can release that relationship that I don't want. Whatever it is, you want to be able to have that heads up. So get you an almanac and learn what the moon cycles really represent, especially for women. For if you a goddess, if you claiming you a goddess out here, you need to definitely be tapped into the cycles of the moon. You should be all over that. That's basic information. So I would encourage everybody to go out there and get more information on the moon cycles and learn, and figure out what it is that you want to create in your life, and go ahead and get that natal chart done. That's like the first thing you need to do, is figure out where your planets were. Like I said, my moon sign is in Pisces. That's where all my maternal energy, my feminine energy is from. And I found this to be super dope when I found out, like, wait, my mom is a Pisces. So it was like only confirmation. Like, you want your sun sign. We all know our sun sign. And then, what's your ruling planet? For me, my ruling planet is Mercury. And that can just be a great segue into this Mercury retrograde that's coming up. I know people hate when I post about a Mercury retrograde. They're like, oh my God, Mercury's about to be retrograde. That's just crazy. Everything is fucked up with Mercury. But there are ways that you can take a Mercury retrograde and use a Mercury retrograde to your advantage. The thing is, you just got to have a heads up. You got to know what's going on. You got to be aware. You need to be conscious. You should be knowing what these planets are doing before it happens. I had a lot of things planned this past full moon for myself to do, but, things were different. So I had to tend to my daughter and just be there for her. But you want to, like I said, make sure you get, all the utensils and tools that you need when that moon is coming, so you can create what it is that you want to create more of in your life. And I'm skimming the top. Like, this conversation can get really deep, but like I said, this is just the basics. You really want to just tap into the moon and tap into that energy, whether you're just sitting there and you are meditating on what you want to create more of in your life, Or you could be, like I said before, drawing down the moon. How did I forget? So that's a great ritual, and it's a lot of different versions of it out there because it can get really, really deep, you know. But what I like to do is I like to sit in meditation, close my eyes. I like to get into a very peaceful state of mind, and then